What is Bigfoot? A myth? A legend? A hoax? Or a real flesh and blood creature? What about the reported sightings of Bigfoot? They can't all be misidentified animals. And how is it that most Native American cultures have stories about Bigfoot? After 2 separate sightings of a Bigfoot type creature, I needed answers. I have now been researching Bigfoot for over 15 years, and I feel that my journey has just begun.
Alright, welcome back to the channel, people. Today I'm going to be walking down through some of my research area that I don't get to check out that often. But I'm going to be out there today, and I might put out a couple of trail cameras. I've got them just in case I find a spot that I think would be a nice spot to put one. But I done spray myself down with my cover up, and I'm ready to get out there in the woods. So let's get to it. Alright, y'all, I have stopped walking here for the last 5 minutes because I just heard sound like a tree limb or branch breaking, and it was right here in front of me. So I'm just sitting here for a minute, see if I hear anything else or see anything. For all it's worth, it could be beavers out there gnawing down a tree. I mean, I really don't know. But I haven't heard anything else since that happened. And I'm just gonna start heading that way a little bit, just to see if there is something up here I can see. When I get up here to the end of my tract of land, I'm gonna actually look around and see if I can't see what fell. Now, I know you can't see it, but right over there is the shoreline to the lake. I'm coming up through this little tract of land just out of sight of the shoreline. I've been watching these bogs see if I can find any footprints. We got plenty of bogs here, and I'll probably put out a trail camera on the way back in one of the boggy areas. But don't know what I heard. Well, I do know what I heard, just don't know what caused it. So I'm not jumping to no conclusions. But I'm gonna make my way on down a little piece. It sounded like it come from somewhere right up in here. And that right there is the marshy part of the lake. So let me get on down through here, and I'll give you, real quick, I'll give you a look at what I'm seeing. These woods right here are a mix between pine and hardwood. Excuse me. And that right over there is the marshland, the marshy area of the lake. In the boggy areas, I have found lots of deer tracks, but nothing else. Well, let me take that back. No Bigfooty prints. Deer and even raccoons, but that's about it. Now, take a look at that right there. let's see. It wasn't broke. It just, oh, that wasn't cut. But I really couldn't tell you what it is. I'd like to think it was a Bigfoot who was in an agitated mood and just went past it and broke it on down, but I can't be positive, so I'm not saying that. But let me get on down the trail here, get to the end, and maybe even set out a trail camera down there. All right, I've made it to the end of my tract of land that I can do the research from. And right there is part of the border, this creek. Now, we have camped out here before, done a little bit of research, but we was on the other side of the creek. So now, I'm thinking as soon as I can get a kayak down here with my equipment, I'm going to do some more research on this side of the creek. I mean, that right there looks like a good place to set up a tent or a jungle hammock, or however I decide to do this. But I'm not gonna tote all that stuff in here. It's gonna have to be done with a kayak. Although I do like to hike, and my wife and I do a lot of hiking with backpacks and all that, and go camping like that. This is just too rough a terrain to try to walk it. It's too easy to get hurt out here doing that. So we'll come in here with kayaks and all our equipment. But as soon as we feel like there's a chance that we can get our kayaks down through here without running aground or something, we're gonna get onto it. And I'll probably use jungle hammocks this time, because they're a lot more comfortable than laying on the ground. But that's for another day. And I'm thinking I need to find a spot to put out some trail cams, at least for a few days. So let me look around here and see what I can figure out, and I'll get back with you in a little bit. All right, trail camera 1 has been set out, and she's looking pretty good. Got a good view out across the woods right there, and we're gonna get on to the next one. I'm gonna put it in the boggy areas, so let's get to it. All right, trail camera 2's been set out. I set it out here in this what I call the lowland area. We'll find a lot of deer tracks down in here, raccoon, stuff like that. And you know, to not sound morbid, that's all food for a Bigfoot. So we set a trail camera out looking out across this area right here. We'll be back to pick up these trail cameras probably in the next 2 or 3 days. I'm gonna let them stay out more than overnight, but we're gonna get on out of here right now. If I come across anything else that's interesting, I'll make a note of it for you. All right, I made it back to the van. Been out there in the woods for about 2.5 hours now, but it's time to get back to the house. The trail cameras did get set out, and I'm gonna let them stay for 2 or 3 days. See what we get on them. But right now, it's time to get back to the house, relax a little bit, and catch my breath. We'll catch you on the next part of this video. All right, I'm back. It's been 3 days since I set the trail cameras out. I wanted them to set out for 4 days, but tomorrow's supposed to be thunderstorms all day, so I'm already pushing it on the battery life with me running it on what they call field scan, which is the camera just coming on every like 15, 20 minutes, something like that, and running for 15 seconds. That way if something happens to be in front of the camera when, but too far away to activate the camera, it may catch it. So we're out here fixing to pull up these cameras and do a little walkthrough, and then we'll get back to the house and see what we got. All right, I'm down here in the lowland area of this tract of land, and being as it rained the other day pretty heavy for a little bit, I am keeping an eye out for any footprints. So this is what I'm looking at. Places like that right there, they would hold a footprint. Of course, it's a lot harder to find a footprint in leaves and greenery, but them little mud spots, come across one of them, and I am definitely checking it out. We've got raccoon tracks right there, and we've got deer tracks over there. Whoa, what is this? Oh, that's just the way the sun's hitting. All right, let's keep them moving. When I do come down here in these woods, I take 3 or 4, maybe 5 steps, and then I just stop and listen. Look around, because that seems like the only way you'd ever see anything out here. Catch a little bit of movement. I have actually run up on deer like that, so undoubtedly that method works. But we had a discussion the other day, me and another guy, and it was that discussion every Bigfooter will usually run up on at some point or another. If Bigfoot are out there in the woods, how come we ain't found bones? So let's talk about that for a second. And I'll give you my theory. I've been walking these woods out here for well over 40 years. 50 if you want to really get technical. But in all the woods that I've walked in, I know for positive that there are deer out there. I used to be an avid deer hunter. I'd see deer, I'd kill deer. Then just a hiker, run across deer. Even setting out my trail cameras out here in these woods, I'd catch deer on the trail cam. And some of these places that I checked were not exactly accessible to everyone. Few people has access to it, and that's about it. But of all my time ever spent out in the woods, and honestly that's a lot of time, I've never even come across a deer shed. One single antler. Not one. So that could tell you something. I've been in areas where I know there were bear. I've never come across a bear carcass. So to expect to find bones of a Bigfoot out in the woods, well, that's just slim and none. It's not impossible, I'm sure, it would not be impossible to come across a body at one point or another. Because according to research, there are Bigfoot out there who are rogues. They've been kicked out of their clan and they roam out there by themselves. Now, what happens when one of them dies and the clan doesn't take care of the body like a lot of researchers believe? Well, then you got stuff like coyotes, even raccoons, possums, buzzards. All these animals come out here and they pick it over in no time and spread the bones. Before long, the bones are gone. And there has been researchers who have put out deer carcasses out in the middle of the woods and put trail cameras on them to do a time-lapse kind of video on it. And it really doesn't take long to get rid of a body in the woods. So that was my answer to the guy. Will I ever find a Bigfoot body? I'm still looking for a Bigfoot where I can get it on video instead of just see it, get a good look at it and it be gone. I'm still looking for that. One day I may get it. Whether I do or don't, I enjoy my walks out here in the woods. Give me time to clear my head and all that. So it's not wasted time. But enough of me rambling. Let's get on down the trail. This right here is another example of a bowed tree that cannot be really explained. It's out here in the middle of the woods. Nothing fell on top of it to hold it down. And the wind didn't do that. There's too many trees around here to block the wind from it, from being that kind of a force. So wind didn't do this. But it's another one of them wonder what happened here kind of deals. Now there is a tree that's broke right there, but it's not landed on that tree, or even when it fell, don't look like it even touched it, but it's been down a while too. So I ain't worried about the pine tree. It probably fell. But right here with this tree, where you see a break in the tree broke, you see evidence of a pine tree falling on it. That bowed tree, there's nothing that suggests that that's what happened. So it makes you wonder exactly what happened. You just don't want to jump to no conclusions, but it is a possibility that a Bigfoot did it. All right, we made it to trail camera number 1, the one on the back side. Almost to my boundary. Get this thing down and go back up and get the other trail cam. Do a little search around and then head to the house. Supposed to be up in the 90s today, and I don't want to be stuck out here in these woods in such heat. But let's get going. He is not poisonous to people, so the old adage that a dead snake is a good snake ain't always true. So let's leave him alone and get on through and pick up the other trail cams. All right, second trail camera's been picked up. Ready to get out of here, go home and get a shower. For some reason this year, ticks have been a lot worse than they had been, so I had to take the more precautions than I usually do. Either that or I didn't start drinking pickle juice soon enough. For those of you not in the know, pickle juice One shot of it every day will keep ticks and red bugs, or chiggers, as some people know them. Keep ticks and chiggers off of you. So I don't think I got started soon enough, but I have started rectifying that situation. But it's time to get on out of here and get a shower. And as the song goes, get checked for ticks. So if there's anything on the end of this, on these trail cameras, as usual, I put them on the end of the video. But it's getting hotter by the minute, and it's time to get on out of here. I'd like to thank all my subscribers, anybody who watches. I appreciate that. And if you're not a subscriber and like what you see here, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next video. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe.
And tell your friends.
Also find us on Facebook, Alabama Georgia Bigfoot Research Group.